Brandon Stevens of Maddux Woodworks. Welcome to my shop. Today I'm going to show you how I built this workbench. It's constructed of 2x4s, 2x6s, and both 3/4 and 1/2 inch ply. So let's get to it.
It all started with this piece of plywood and 2 folding sawhorses, which seems to be the reason for every good workbench build. I began by laying out the 2x4s for the frame and cutting them to length. I then pre-drilled each screw location to prevent the wood from splitting. Then I squared up one corner and attached with screws. I've been told I may be a little too picky when it comes to things being square. I then continued this process on the remaining corners and for the middle supports. This bench is a modification to Ron Paulk's workbench and uses 2 frames to make the base. A link to his channel will be down below. Next was to cut the 2x6 legs down to length. Then I began assembling the base of the workbench. I attached the legs by first applying glue and clamping them into place. Then I pre-drilled with a countersink bit and secured with screws. Here, I'm using a combination square to equally place blocks so that the lower shelf can sit level. I then attached it using the same method as the top. Here, I marked for center on the bottom of the leg to add some leveling feet. I'm using T-nuts and carriage bolts for the leveling feet, so I used a spade bit to drill down for the width of the T-nut, and then followed that with a drill bit. This is to allow for the space for the bolt threads to enter into the wood. And this is the first time I've ever broken the drill bit for a Craig jig. Now that the base is assembled, it's time to put it on the ground. I then began breaking down the plywood for the workbench top. You can see I recruited my wife to help make the breakdown easier. To make the openings for the tool wells, I made a template using some scrap ply and a jigsaw. I was then able to use the template and the flush trim bit in the router to cut out the openings. You can see I was having a little trouble with the template. Next, I used a round over bit to remove any sharp edges and give it a nice clean look. Now for the assembly of the top. I began by laying out all the pieces and screwing them together. In order to attach the underside of the top, I once again pre-drilled all my screw locations and secured with screws. I used the same method for attaching the top to the base. Once the top was secure, I marked off a section to be used as the downdraft portion of the table. I began by cutting out the spot for the dust chute. Here you can see we had some camera issues, but you get the picture. I had a small mix-up in the planning stage and ended up cutting out 2 openings for tool wells, so I had to cover them up. I just used some 1/4 inch scrap I had in the shop and secured with brad nails. I used some of the same scrap to make a funnel for the downdraft and caulked all the seams. Again, we had some camera trouble here and the footage ended up being lost. Now, time for the top. I secured it by once again pre-drilling with countersink and screws. Then came the fun stuff. Laying out and drilling what seemed like to be 1,000 holes for the downdraft. I ended up just using some scrap pegboard I had laying around in the shop. It turned out to work pretty well. As I was drilling the holes, I was careful not to punch through the top too hard and hit my downdraft funnel. Now that those were done, I began laying out and drilling the holes for the bench dogs. Getting close to completion, I routed out some slots for the table saw sleds. Then, I finished off the top with a few coats of Danish oil, and it was complete.
So there you have it. This is a major upgrade to what I was previously using, and I'm sure it will last me for many years to come. I'll have another video with the installation of the drawers, some shelving, and the vise options coming out for this table soon. If you would, go ahead and subscribe to our channel and give us a thumbs up. I'll have links below for Paulk's Workbench, and Tyler G from DIY Tyler has a set of plans that's very similar to this bench here. Thanks for watching. Hey everyone, welcome to my shop. I'm Brandon Stevens from Maddux Woodworks. Today, I'm going to go over this workbench. Today, I'm going to show you how I built this workbench. It's built of 2x4s. So there you have it. This is a major upgrade to my shop from what I was previously. I'll have links below for Paulk style. I'll have links below to YouTube.